Bro, talk about something important for once in your life, bro. I'm begging you. You're running for president. Talk about something important.
Publishers are unwilling to take risks.
Anything. Nobody cares about your thoughts on
I know we're running out of time
on Twitter. You're already running out of time.
For Pacific, but
okay, something incredible. I was well known, and I'm going to admit when I was wrong. I said there's no possible way that Ron DeSantis is going to run for president in 2024 because it just doesn't make any sense. Now, back last year, when the Florida Republicans took like a moment to take a breath off of DeSantis's crotch and stop passing laws to infringe on the civil and human rights of minorities in their state, including Jewish people, but we'll talk about that in another segment. They passed a law that kind of went under the radar with everything that they passed. They passed a law that changed Florida's rules when it comes to you running for a higher office or another office, right? So typically in Florida, what happens is that if you want to run for another office, you have to renounce your seat and you have to resign from your seat, whatever public office that you held, so you can run for another, you can run somewhere else, right? Which makes a lot of sense and I think is really smart. I don't think that you can accurately lead from your position while you're running for another position. I just don't think that makes any sense. And so that's what that law was in place. But when as like the musings were going on behind closed doors, the Florida legislature passed a law that basically said that Ron DeSantis can now be governor of Florida while also running for another office, whatever office that may be. And we all kind of suspected that that was going to be president if he wanted to run for president. I didn't think that he was going to run for president because it just didn't make any sense. Biden, no matter what you think, is a pretty popular candidate. Donald Trump is running. He's not beating Donald Trump, but I guess him and his campaign think differently because it seems like he's going to be running for president, and not only running for president normally, he's going to be starting his presidential campaign the way he's been running his governor campaign and his governorship of Florida with Twitter. So if you remember, Ron DeSantis's main reasons for passing a lot of the anti-LGBT laws that he does is because a lot of his group and friends and his administration follow libs of TikTok, Matt Walsh, and other anti-LGBT, anti-minority, bigoted Christian fascists and religious extremists on Twitter. And when they see something on like Twitter that they don't like, they pass a law against it. So if you remember, that's basically how Donald Trump ran as being president. You can know exactly you can tell what he watched last night by what he tweeted in the morning. And so you could very easily find tweets that he made and issues that he thinks are important now because he saw it on Fox News the night before or the morning of the day when news articles had started going off. It was basically one for one. You could see exactly what he was, he would call into the Fox 5 and Fox and Friends while it was going on when he saw something that he wanted to chime in on, and they would just like let him on live, and then he would comment on things live. And so Ron DeSantis is basically the same way, how Ron DeSantis, even though himself isn't, people in his cabinet, his Secretary of State, high up officials in his cabinet are known to be very close to these content creators. And also Ron DeSantis has personally reached out to libs of TikTok and said that if libs of TikTok is in a bind, she could literally stay at the governor's mansion. That's what he said, specifically, just in case some people don't know about this story. Ron DeSantis told creator of libs of TikTok, thank you, very cool. What? There we go. Ron DeSantis told creator of libs of TikTok she could hide out in his mansion after her identity became public. Yes, real. They unironically run theirs. If you want to know why Florida is so bad, it's because they run their state like you would run a Twitter account. Like they would run a far-right Twitter account. Yes, unironically. And how like a far-right Twitter account would block like LGBT organizations, they want to ban LGBT organizations in Florida. It's just like making a Twitter account, but putting actual laws into it, which is insane, but that's how it's going. Anyways, Ron DeSantis said that he wanted to announce his run for president on Twitter in a Twitter space call with Elon Musk because they both have an unhealthy Twitter addiction. Elon has an unhealthy Twitter addiction so bad that it pushed him to literally buy Twitter so he could tweet more. And Ron DeSantis has an unhealthy addiction to Twitter because he literally runs his entire state based on what he saw last night on Twitter and what his administration saw last night posted by fucking Matt Walsh or libs of TikTok, right? It's just insane stuff that's going on. We're going to be listening to it a little bit because I know it's definitely going to be funny, but what's not funny is the fact that it is the YouTubeification or the TikTokification of the GOP, how they've turned into just caricatures of themselves, how they want to become basically just content creators, and they want to run states and the country and the world how you would run a YouTube channel. It's just sick and makes no sense, but it does get them views some places because at the end of the day, it gets them views and voters because at the end of the day, it does whip people into action and it preys on people's fears and their insecurities, their delusions as well, to push them towards more radical ideas. That's how YouTube channels and a lot of those right-wing YouTube channels get you. It preys on your fear. It eats your fear, basically. That's how they're able to sustain themselves. They feed off of the geriatric and mentally ill and low info voters' fear and anger. And that's how they fuel themselves to get even bigger and stronger. It's sick what they're doing. Honestly, in some cases, should even be illegal in functioning societies, but that's just what we're going to have to deal with at the moment. And Elon and DeSantis go back. They go way back. Elon has been somebody who's known DeSantis for quite some time. They met each other, actually, through the Koch brothers, or the Koch brother. Back when they met each other, back when the Koch brothers were still two guys before one of them died, actually. They met because since the Koch brother or the Koch family are massive Republican donors, a lot of Republicans and people who like to be Republicans know each other through them because they help connect people up and they make connections and give them money to help make the world a worse place. And so since that's the case, that's how Elon and DeSantis met each other originally, through one of these fundraisers. Elon was there. He was introduced to DeSantis through the Koch Foundation. And that's how they started to get like closer and buddy. And now that Elon owns Twitter, Elon will now use basically Twitter as a way to push up and bolster Ron DeSantis's campaign, because he can now use an entire platform as a far-right megaphone for his mentally ill musings and the mentally ill musings of his friends. And that is just wild. But that's what's happening. And to talk about this a little bit, Elon was actually interviewed a tiny bit about a little bit of this, and I just want to watch it a little bit before we hop into the discussion, because this is just very enlightening about how Elon views his own politics in the world.
And I would class myself as a moderate, and neither Republican nor Democrat.
Okay, buddy.
And in fact, I have voted overwhelmingly for Democrats historically. Overwhelmingly, like I'm not sure. I might never have voted for a Republican, just to be clear.
Right.
That doesn't really mean anything. There are so many different ideologies within the Democrats. He could have very easily voted for many conservative Democrats in his life, as long as they were going to give him money and squash unions.
Now this election, I will. The Democratic Party is overly controlled by the unions.
Don't you think that's an insane thing to say? The Democratic Party is overly controlled by unions. You know what that's code for? The Democratic Party is overly controlled by the people of America. The Democratic Party is too beholden to stakeholders and not shareholders. The Democratic Party is overly connected to working class individuals and not multi-billionaire mega donors. The Democratic Party has way too many values of your average human being and not the 0.00001% of our society who has more money than half of the countries on planet Earth. I just think that says a lot. I think that says a lot about his ideology. Don't you think? Overly controlled by unions, and a time where your average working class person is making less compared to their boss and companies, as companies have record profits year in and year out off of the backs of human suffering. My man comes in and says, the real problem is that those uppity workers are asking for too many benefits and more time off to spend more time with their families. That's the real issue here. They're Joe Biden is overly controlled by those unions. Now thinking Joe Biden, Joseph R. Biden Jr., Nancy Pelosi are overly controlled by the working class. Two multi-millionaires who made their money through politics. Let me tell you, if you're a millionaire because after being in politics, you've done something horribly wrong. If you're a multimillionaire after being in politics, the likelihood of you doing something wildly illegal goes up dramatically. Okay? I'm sorry. If you got an ice cream collection in your house, you've probably done something that should have put you in jail. You've done something that would have put a working class person in jail probably 10 times over. I'll tell you that right now. And these guys, those are the people who he thinks are way too connected to your average working class human being who he employs to make his money, who he exploits to make his money, who he takes from to make his money, who he disregards to make his money, who he screws over to make his money. That's this guy. They're too connected to you. They think about how your mom should be able to afford her medicine too much. And that's sick to him. That's sick and twisted. And that's why he's changing parties.
Is overly controlled by the unions and by the trial lawyers, particularly the class action lawyers.
This demon, literal demon, okay? He walks among us. Actual demon walks among us, okay? Not listen, oh no, I keep getting hit with class action lawsuits because my wide arching of failures as a businessman keeps negatively affecting people's lives, okay? Listen, I know that Buddy Boy went to Halloween as literally Satan, but I didn't think that he was going to actually come out as a demon. I didn't think that was going to be the turn that he wanted to do necessarily as a businessman, but I don't know, maybe I guess I'm wrong. Where's my Bugatti, right? Where's my Bugatti?
And generally, if you'll see something that is not in the interest of the people, on the Democrat side, it's going to come because of the unions, which is just another form of monopoly, and the trial lawyers. That's where actions will be happening from the Democrat side. They're not in the interest of the people.
What people? You are not the people. You are a person, debatably. But you are not the people, you insane fucking child. You fucking piece of shit. How you can't say they're not in the interest of the people as they're stopping you from committing heinous crimes against the people. What are you saying? What are you saying, brother? You are sick. You're out of your mind. You're crazy. But anyways, with that being said, I would like to take a look at, and in this time, I would like to take a look at the call itself because it's live. No, nothing's happening. Good to know. I'll keep this up. Maybe something will happen soon.
And then, to be fair, on the Republican side, there's if you say like where there's something like not ideal happening, it's because of corporate evil and religious zealotry. That's generally where the bad things will be coming from on the Republican side, that are not representative of the people. So.
Okay, so unions and trial lawyers that bring cases against corporate evil are evil, but on the Republican side, the evil is the corporate evil and the religious zealotry. Don't you think that even in this discussion, don't you think that the left would be the one that is even anywhere near close to being right? He said unions and trial lawyers on the other side, and fascism on the other side. Okay, but apparently that is all the same. Sure, I bet. 100%. Oh, he's here. Okay, all right. We're about to get this pony show on the road. My boy is 7 minutes late. He is 7 minutes late to his own call. All right. Oh, here we go. Thank you, David Sachs. I love how these like 60-year-old men are all here to tell us how they want to how they're going to make the country better.
All right. Good afternoon, good evening, or
did
good
he
morning,
just tap
everyone,
his
depending on
microphone?
wherever in the world you're joining us from. I'm broadcasting live from Twitter headquarters. It's David Sachs here. Elon is sitting next to me, and we want to welcome you to this historic Twitter Spaces event, and more broadly, a first in the history of social media. Tonight, I'm pleased to introduce two individuals who've done more to loosen the.
Nice one. Oh, it's already going well. I can see. Audio cut. Oh, it's fantastic. Oh, it's great. Oh, it's so good. It's going great, buddy. It's good. This is sick. Wait, okay, they changed it. Now Ron is the speaker. Is he gonna start speaking? Oh wait, no. Sax turned to the listener. Now he's the speaker again.
All right, sorry about that.
Here we go.
We've got so many people here that I think we are kind of melting the servers.
Hey, remember when last time this happened and he said he was going to fix it?
Introduce the folks in the room here. So it's safe to say we wouldn't be making history without the man sitting next to me, Elon Musk. His decision to purchase this platform last year to restore to its original mission as
his decision, Lamau,
and even to expose Twitter's past complicity with a government censorship regime might have surprised many, but not those of us who've known and worked with Elon for nearly a quarter century. His commitment to freedom and his willingness to put his money where his mouth is.
Elon, turn off your microphone. Why is Elon here when he's sitting right next to him? Aren't they speaking to the same mic?
If you want to say thank you, Elon. Governor DeSantis first drew my attention and support when I saw how he responded to the COVID pandemic and refused to believe what we now know to be the many falsehoods that government experts and their media mouthpieces were feeding us.
Holy
he kept
shit!
Florida's schools open.
What the fuck?
And its economy
Florida
thriving,
was like the
state of California
COVID hotspot of the world.
And lockdowns that we have yet to fully.
They had one of the worst death rates in the entire planet. Okay. Oh, and he cut again. What's happening, dude? This is falling apart, just like the GOP. You know what? It's all starting to make sense. I see. This is so trash. It's so trashy. He's gone? Wait, he left? And DeSantis is gone too? Wait, what happened? No, DeSantis is down here now. Giuliani? Emerald Mine. What's happening? They can't. What the fuck is going on? Oh, this is fantastic. This is terrific, I must say. Wait, guys, we gotta remake it. I would like to thank Ron DeSantis for killing my grandma. She really didn't deserve life. Honestly, it was pretty badass that you kept it's really badass that you owned the libs by keeping the entire state open during COVID. It was super sick, incredibly pog, I must say.
Let's see, so here we go. Yeah, I think so.
Just to simplify this.
Who's speaking now? Why aren't they at the top?
I think we're just going to use your.
I didn't even know this was possible. Yeah, man. Florida did such an amazing job. If you look at this, age-adjusted death rates.
There's 382,000 people.
Death rate for Florida, 111. So California, 99. New York, 83. So true, they did a fantastic job.
Just a massive number of people online, so it's servers are straining somewhat.
Guys, stop listening so hard. When so many of you all are listening, my laptop gets really hot and burns my lap. Please. My shitty website can't take a couple of people.
This meme is very real.
Why not, if your server can't hold this many people in one call, why allow this many people in one call? Why don't you rate limit? Why don't you rate limit these calls then? And also, is it really that difficult to have this many people listening to one call? Like, why is YouTube and Twitch able to like do this, but it's viewership? You're not even sending video anymore. It's just like audio. Why is this that hard? Why can Discord do this and you can't? Why can Skype do this 20 years ago and you can't? Isn't a system for this been around for like 150 years or something? Like, have you ever heard of radio?
There's some delay. All right, we're just reallocating more server capability to be able to handle the load here. It's
you're a social media account. You don't have enough. You had to go replug in servers because you
have Governor DeSantis make this.
Guys, we have to shut off some shit. Because like this isn't working. Sorry, guys. I had to make an order call. Where they're rushing over new servers really quick. Sorry, guys. Everybody, hold on. I promise it's gonna be okay. Guys, listen. I promise it's all right. Why don't you just do this on YouTube instead? At least their social media the website works. This shit is actually embarrassing. I did not think it was going to be this bad. He said last time there was a call that he would fix it. He lied. That's well, that's a lie. That's a lie. Hey guys, can you replug in all those? Dude, Elon wait a second. Elon couldn't control himself. They told him not to chew on the wires. Like a day before they were supposed to have a really big call with Ron DeSantis, and he couldn't help himself. Late at night, he creeped into the server room and started nibbling on the wires again. And now they don't have enough wires to be able to have everybody connected.
So that was a fucking lie.
When Elon tells me that he's going to fix the shitty Twitter Space system. It shouldn't be this hard for the richest man in the world. Yeah, and it keeps flashing details not available. I don't know. I've never seen this happen before. Before Elon took over Twitter, I had never seen Twitter Spaces do this before, even really big ones. I think there was some like really big like really big like important people who were doing Spaces. I've never seen it do this before. Flash like flash brokenly. Like this. I've never seen this happen. Sorry guys, we're allocating more server space. Wait, are some like small countries getting their like Twitter shut down because he's like pulling the plugs out of their server to put it into America's? Can you imagine? No, Malta Twitter, no, not Kenya Twitter, don't do it. Not Bangladesh Twitter, please, I'm begging. Not Vietnam Twitter, no, Colombia Twitter is over, it's over. Unironically, probably, he definitely is, 100%. He's cutting service from like smaller countries and places and then allocating it here. He's 100% doing this. I 100% believe this. Do you think Elon is running around with like a paddle, just fucking smacking the workers who he basically has enslaved there now, telling them to get to work to make this work? What is it? It's now 19 minutes past when this was supposed to pop up. Okay, wait, DeSantis is back. Wait, DeSantis is back. Wait a second. Wait a second. I think we may be onto something. Bring back the elevator music. The pant piss. Can you imagine how embarrassing it'll be if he has to call it off? Guys, we'll just do it tomorrow. Guys, DeSantis, can you hold off running for president of the United States until tomorrow? My servers need to cool down really quick, please. Just hold off for like another day for running for the president of the United States so you can announce on my social media platform. Please, I'm begging you, okay? Just one more day. I need to listen. We're pulling Singapore's servers as we speak, okay? Just one day. Come on. Oh, jeez. What happened? It ended. He ended it. No. This can't be happening. You can't do this to me. Play recording? No, dude. What? You couldn't make it work? Really? You didn't even announce that it was ending. You just cut the cord just like that. He nibbled. No, wait. Do you guys think that they accidentally pulled the cord that went to the Twitter Spaces, like trying to get more allocated dedicated wham to Twitter Spaces? They accidentally pulled the plug on the Twitter Spaces thing. He's like, no, fuck, put it back. Oh shit! Whoops! He eated the wire by accident. As just nibbling down on the wires as hard as possible. He tripped over the cord. Holy, this is too good. It's all right, guys. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. That is Ron DeSantis's acknowledgement. That is his statement that he is running for president. As you can see, his The start to his campaign bodes very well for the rest of it. Let me tell you that. It will go over quite well, I imagine. Quite well indeed. Yeah, it's the perfect metaphor for how I think his campaign will go and how he's been running Florida so far. I think this really speaks volumes. Oh, it's so good. They made a new one? Wait. When? Like 2 minutes ago? 2 minutes? Literally 2 minutes ago? Details not available. I can't click on it. It's broken again. It's broken. I can't click on it. I can't kick Elon right now. It broke again. It broke. Wait. Maybe a reloading? Join? Okay, wait. I gotta click on it and click join before it breaks.
Running for president of the United States to lead our great American comeback. Look, we know our country's going in the wrong direction. We see it with our eyes and we feel it in our bones. Our southern borders collapse. Drugs are pouring into the country. Our cities are being hollowed out by spiking crime. The federal government's making it harder for the average
Them Browns
family
are really destroying everything.
to attain and maintain a middle-class lifestyle. And our president, well, he lacks vigor.
Florida, mind you, the worst place in the country to buy a house right now.
Takes his cues from the woke mob. I don't think it has to be this way. American decline is not inevitable. It is a choice. And we should choose a new direction, a path that will lead to American revitalization. We must restore sanity to our nation. This means embracing fiscal and economic sanity. Stop pricing hardworking Americans out of a good standard of living through inflationary borrow, print, and spending policies. And please embrace American energy independence. This also means replacing the woke mind virus with reality, facts, and enduring principles. Merit must trump identity politics. We must return normalcy to our communities. America's a sovereign country. Our borders must be respected. We cannot have foreigners pouring into our country illegally by the millions. We cannot allow drug cartels to poison our population with fentanyl. Public deserves safe communities, and law and order must be maintained in American cities. We can't have inmates running the asylum, and we must reject attacks on the men and women of law enforcement. We also must reestablish integrity in our institutions. This includes the military. I'm proud to be a Navy veteran, an Iraq veteran, and I revere our services. But when revered institutions like those,
he tortured people in Guantanamo Bay. That's what he means.
With matters not central to the mission, whether it's global warming or gender ideology and pronouns.
Global warming? You live in Florida.
Recruiting suffers.
Your state won't exist in 30 years.
Distractions, and we need to get focused on the core mission. We also cannot have true constitutional government if the most significant issues are decided by the whims of unelected bureaucrats rather than the people's elected representatives. Reestablishing integrity in our institutions means we must reinvigorate our constitutional system by returning the government to its rightful owners, we the people. No social or economic transformation without representation. Truth needs to be our foundation. Common sense can no longer be an uncommon virtue. And in Florida, we proved it could be done. We chose facts over fear, education over indoctrination, law and order over rioting and disorder.
Florida is losing teachers.
Held the line.
They can't even keep their schools open anymore.
In the balance. And we're thriving as a result. Florida is the nation's fastest growing state. We're #1 in net in-migration, #1 in new business formations, recently ranked #1 in education. We have a 50-year low crime rate and one of the lowest tax and debt per capita in America. But we also understand governing is not entertainment. It's not about building a brand or virtue signaling. It is about delivering results. And our results in Florida have been second to none. We can and we must
higher education, like universities
for America.
Not elementary.
I pledge to be an energetic executive that will take on the important issues. Biden's pursued inflationary policies that are hurting working people. We will reverse those policies and we'll build an economy where working Americans can achieve a good standard of living. Biden's opened the southern border and allowed massive amounts of drugs to pour into the country. We'll shut down the border, construct a border wall, and hold the drug cartels accountable.
Holy crap, he wants to build a wall? That's so funny.
Such as unconstitutional COVID vax mandates. We will ensure that those violations of liberty can never happen again. Biden's allowed woke ideology to drive his agenda. We will never surrender to the woke mob, and we will leave woke ideology in the dustbin of history. Biden's also politicized the military and caused recruiting to plummet. We will eliminate ideological agendas from our military, focus the military on the core mission.
Oh, also back on the education thing, super quick.
Recruiting trends. Finally, Biden's weaponized the power
Florida
of the
ranked themselves as number one
to advance his left-wing agenda. We
independently. They're ranked as 42nd.
The executive branch, and we'll bring the administrative state to heel. Now, you can't do any of that if you don't win. There is no substitute for victory. We must end the culture of losing that has infected the Republican Party in recent years. The tired dogmas of the past are inadequate for a vibrant future. We must look forward, not backwards.
Is hell rising with this guy?
Courage to lead, and we must have the strength to win. And to voters who are participating in this primary process, my pledge to you is this. If you nominate me, you can set your clock to January 20th, 2025 at high noon, because on the west side of the U.S. Capitol, I will be taking the oath of office as the 47th president of the United States. No excuses. I will get the job done. Now, these past few years have given me a new appreciation for the fragility of our freedoms. I never thought I would see things
as
in America
he works to destroy them
during the COVID-19 pandemic. But our founding fathers were keenly aware.
Florida is number one in constitutional violations.
When they framed our Constitution,
when it comes to the courts,
they came armed with having studied the history of every republic and the history of mankind. And they noticed that all of those experiments only had one thing in common, and it was this. Every single one of them had failed. And so they knew it fell to our country, the United States of America, to determine whether people could really govern themselves. Could we have a society based on the idea that our rights are God-given, not government-granted, and that society functions based on the rule of law, not the rule of individual men? And when Dr. Benjamin Franklin walked out of that convention, he was asked, did you deliver a republic or a monarchy? He said, a republic if you can keep it. They knew freedom didn't run on autopilot. They knew each generation would have a responsibility to safeguard freedom, and it's our responsibility to do so at this important juncture in our nation's history. We have a lot of work to do to ensure the country gets back on track. I ask everybody listening to please join me on this mission. Please invest in our campaign by going to rondesantis.com and making a donation. Thank you. God bless, and I look forward to
Bro's campaign's going to crumble. Holy shit. Wait, are they going to debate?
I appreciate that.
Oh, wait.
I guess as a first
this isn't a discussion.
Here, thank you for putting up with these technical issues.
He's going to get the softest softball interview by his billionaire puppet master and his bestie.
Their candidacy on social media this way, certainly in a Twitter space. So thank you for doing that. What made you want to kind of take the chance of doing it this way, as opposed to just doing it on cable news or the usual way?
Bro, he's running for president. Who cares?
Well, when COVID hit, I had to make decisions about, do you go with the crowd or do you look at the data yourself and cut against the grain? And I chose to do the latter. I faced huge blowback for doing that from the bureaucracy, from elites, from the media. But my view was I had to look out for the people I represented, prefer protecting their jobs over trying to safeguard my own political hide. But it was very, very lonely in a lot of those decisions. And part of the reason it was so lonely is because there was a concerted effort to try to stifle dissent. There was an official narrative about lockdowns, about closing schools, about forced masking, about all these different things that we had to navigate during COVID. And it was an orthodoxy being enforced by the major tech platforms in conjunction with the federal government. And if we can't have an honest debate in a free country about issues that affect hundreds of millions of people, like lockdowns, then what good is the First Amendment at that point? Those are precisely the times when we needed to have debate be robust. You should not be taking down articles that criticize those draconian policies.
One of the worst states in the country for COVID.
So it occurred to me that if that had continued, I think free speech in this country
400 for 100,000 died.
And so when Elon Musk stepped up to purchase Twitter, he paid a lot of money for it. And I'm sure because he's a good businessman, Elon, I'm sure you'll end up making money off it. But bottom line,
yeah,
is,
man, I bet.
because I think you recognize that you can't have a free society unless we have the freedom to debate.
Unless I can post as many slurs as I want on Twitter.com.
Civilization.
America can't exist without that. You got to understand.
The truth was censored repeatedly. And now that Twitter is in the hands of a free speech advocate, that would not be able to happen again on this Twitter platform. So I think what was done with Twitter is really significant for the future of our country. We cannot have a society in which government is colluding with major tech platforms.
I got to be saying as many slurs as I want. That's the only way America will survive.
Yeah, we're absolutely committed to freedom of speech and a level playing field, and just a vigorous debate. And
just don't ask me about India.
This can be a platform that brings people of divergent political views to exchange those views, and perhaps some minds will be changed one way or the other. And but it's just incredibly important, as you highlight, that the First Amendment is irrelevant if all the media and all the government are operating in lockstep. It makes the most important amendment, the one that was most urgently added to the Constitution, moot if you cannot have free and open debate. So
Elon Musk told Twitter advisor at 4 a.m. the company would pay rent over his dead body.
But free speech is priceless.
Awesome. Thank you. So, Governor, I'm going to ask some questions while we
You're kidding.
Oh, my God. Questions.
That is unbelievable.
People knew this announcement was coming because there's been no shortage of in the press over the last week or two. I want to ask you about some of these accusations that are being leveled at you. Last week,
you mean like he eats pudding with 3 fingers?
Issued a travel advisory against your state, claiming that Florida is not a safe place for minorities to visit.
Factual
what do you
and
say
accurate
to those who've been advised that somehow they aren't welcome in your state?
Claiming that Florida is unsafe is a total farce. I mean, are you kidding me? You look at cities around this country, they are awash in crime. In Florida, our crime rate is at a 50-year low. If you look at the top 25 cities for crime in America, Florida does not have a single one amongst the top 25. And if you look at cities like Baltimore and Chicago, you got kids more likely to get shot than to receive a first-class education. Yet I don't see the NAACP batting an eye about all the outrage and the carnage that's happening in those areas. So this is a political stunt. These left-wing groups have been doing it for many, many years. And at the end of the day, what they're doing is
invented the problem.
Legacy media.
Crime isn't something that just like
a narrative.
that you can't like pass a crime law. You can pass a discrimination law.
To believe this dribble. And platforms like Twitter are there where people can debunk these lies in real time. And I would just say, as an American citizen, if you are uncritically accepting narrative spun by legacy media and left-wing groups, you're failing at your job of being a conscientious citizen. And I think people just see right through it. And oh, by the way, have any of these travel advisories, because they've been doing this for a while.
He's just going to tap dance around the laws he's been passing about gender and sexual minorities and racial minorities as well.
Have been every year since I've been governor. We just capped the highest quarter for tourism in the history of the state of Florida. And our view is we want everybody to succeed regardless of their skin color. We don't divvy up people by race. At the same time, it is worth pointing out that we have in Florida more Black-owned businesses than any state in the nation. And we've also had more African Americans lead state agencies under my administration than at any time in Florida history. But with us, they're there because of merit, not because we're trying to play identity politics. And if you want to look at education, the Black students in Florida perform much higher than Black students in most other states. We rank number 3 in 4th grade reading and number 2 in 4th grade math amongst our Black student population. And oh, by the way, the head of the NAACP lives in Florida, and a lot of their board members have put out on social media during my governorship Florida vacations where they seem to be having an awful good time.
Yeah, bud. I mean, I'm sorry that you can't
the people also visited Nazi Germany, but okay, whatever. I guess
people realize that some of the things that are being said are just truly absurd. I mean, I saw some headline from The Atlantic basically claiming that anyone who listens to this Spaces on Twitter is basically a Nazi.
True.
That was the Atlantic.
I am also a Nazi.
And then Vanity Fair said that that you were hosting or interviewing because David Duke wasn't available.
Oh yes.
Although I'm not totally sure who they were saying was David Duke. I don't know if it was you or Governor DeSantis. It's sort of a little bit unclear. But
I think this is a function of.
I think DeSantis is actually worse than Duke because Duke has tortured less people than DeSantis has.
And to draw allusions to stuff like that, I mean, how crazy do you have to be? But in their little bubble, it sounds like they're making some type of profound point. And so part of, I think, what Twitter is standing for is people should be exposed to different viewpoints. And I think the elites in our society have tried to cluster themselves to where their assumptions are never challenged. And that's not a good way, I think, to live. It's also not a good way to be a critical thinker, because no one's ever going to question obviously wrong assumptions, because everybody.
Yeah, why is Elon in on this press conference? He's just, it's just, I mean, he just wants to be here to suck his dick. That's all. They just want to suck each other's dick. That's the only reason why they're all here.
Disintermediated.
Yeah.
Because now, candidates for president can just speak directly.
The speakers here
to people through
all together have like a
Twitter.
Yeah, I mean,
net worth of
amazing thing about Twitter,
greater than many nations in the country, but many nations in the world.
But hosting it,
whatever. The elites are coming.
I had to switch over to David hosting it because my account was actually
there's too much interest. But.
My account was breaking the system, but it's there's really never been a mechanism before where someone could address the nation, or anyone who wanted to listen to them could, from anywhere in the world, United States or anywhere.
What are you talking about? It's called TV. It's called YouTube.
A profound change, and it's also like it's not just whether the media reports something, an article is true or not. Even more powerful is deciding what the narrative is, and so it's just like if. There's only so much you can actually fit in a newspaper or a magazine. And
also, just in case we missed it, David Sachs said that this is the biggest gathering of human beings on planet ever online in this call right now. Well, the last call that crashed.
With a public digital town square like we have here,
genuinely hilarious.
It's possible for the public to choose the narrative. It empowers the people instead of a very tiny elite cabal, which I don't recognize the irony of using that phrase, But nonetheless, it's true, and you can judge by the results that this is a means for the people to decide the narrative, and for the people to decide which way a debate will go, not sort of 5 editors-in-chiefs of a few newspapers, basically.
Yeah, and I think one of the really crazy things that happened during COVID is that social networks really started censoring dissenting viewpoints on COVID, medical viewpoints that ended up being totally correct in lockstep with what the mainstream media was doing. So basically, big tech platforms were undermining their main reason for existing, which is giving people a choice. And actually, there's somebody who I think knows more about that than any of us, which is Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, who's a professor of medicine at Stanford. I want to pull him in here. Jay,
why?
Go ahead and unmute yourself if you can.
What is happening right now?
To hear from you. I know that during COVID, you worked with Governor DeSantis. It'd be great just to hear a little bit about your interactions and if you have a question for the governor.
Yeah, thank you, David. Yeah, I mean, it was an absolute honor to work with Governor DeSantis, and I was really impressed by his decision making in the face of an absolute firestorm of criticism. But Governor, you did the right thing when you opened the schools. And my kids in California,
killing all those grandmas,
didn't see the inside of a classroom.
It was perfect. Whereas
Florida kids were in school, and you can see it in the results. And the learning loss numbers are so much better in Florida. I'm really curious, Governor. As you're running for president, what are your thoughts about reforming, the public health authority in the United States and the federal government, the CDC, the FDA, the NIH? How do you see the reforms we need so that the mistakes of the lockdowns that happened during the pandemic don't happen again when there's another pandemic?
Well, first, we need an honest reckoning about what happened during COVID. And the only honest reckoning is that
Oh,
all
no.
of those agencies,
Please, Lord, no.
all of the elites, the public health establishment, they failed. They instituted bad policies. Obviously, it's a novel virus, but I think what happened was when the data was becoming more and more apparent that the path they were on was wrong, they doubled down and wanted to do it even more. And I really believe had Florida not just kind of stood in the way, I think this country would have had rolling lockdowns for probably a 2-year period.
Florida stood in
their impulses.
Florida stood in the way. What are you talking about?
They were not following the data. And I think the U.S. government needs to acknowledge the failures.
When I lie.
And I think all of those agencies need to be cleaned out. What I saw just dealing with them was I saw a interest in the narrative and in politics over evidence-based reasoning and evidence-based medicine. And so I don't have confidence that those agencies are up to the task. And I think you need major overhaul of the whole enchilada with respect to public health in this country.
Can I follow up with that? I mean,
DeSantis 100%. The real reason why DeSantis came here is because he could get a very easy dick sucking session without having to do any work. They already believe everything that he believes. So,
in a roundtable that you hosted on COVID policy, there's so much of the federal government infrastructure went into suppressing honest scientific discussion during the pandemic. So it's not just public health agencies, but other agencies inside the federal government that worked to suppress the speech of Americans. And I'd love to hear your thoughts about it.
No question. So I'm actually,
bro, are they going to talk about anything besides like getting mad that they were wrong about COVID?
A digital Bill of Rights for Florida pretty soon, which will bar all state and local government officials from colluding or working with a technology company for the purpose of censorship of speech. Because you're exactly right. You had people in the White House, you had people in all these other agencies working with these platforms to try to take it down. And oh, by the way, what did they censor Dr. Bhattacharya for? It was a roundtable discussion that
the federal government didn't force any companies to do anything. They asked them, they told them that there was stuff that they could take down. Florida took down less than 30% of what the government said was a problem.
Sunetra Gupta from Oxford, who was generally viewed as one of the best epidemiologists across the pond until she became anti-lockdown. So these are all eminent people. And what are we discussing? We're discussing whether there's any scientific basis to force a school child to wear a mask for 8 hours a day. They all agreed there was no basis to do it and that you should not have school mask mandates. YouTube thought that was, quote, anti-science and that should be taken down. But even at that point, we had already had enough experience in Florida where you had some schools that had done it before the state banned the mandates. You had some schools that had done it, some schools didn't, and the results were no different. And yet his video was taken down by Google YouTube. So it was a huge problem. And
this is somebody who's running for president of the United States who's complaining about one of his YouTube videos got taken down by YouTube. I'm sorry, but this is so unserious. Nobody who votes cares about any of this, bro.
You can't do indirectly what the Constitution would clearly forbid you to do directly.
Let me pull in. We have Congressman Thomas Massey. If you're there,
we're such a failed state. Oh, do you live in Florida? Sorry, bud.
What we're talking about here is, I think, really unconstitutional actions by
the rest of the U.S. can very easily get better.
Congressman Massey, I know that you've been involved in this problem of government agencies being weaponized.
They brought on Christopher Rufo
and used against the American
as a speaker
in an inappropriate way.
The guy who literally makes up anti-LGBTQ like conspiracy lies to get people killed. Really?
Big thank you to Elon Musk for buying Twitter and exposing all of this.
Okay, sure. Why not?
On our weaponization committee, we wouldn't know.
Bring on Fuentes then.
If he hadn't
go ahead, bring on Fuentes. Bring on Alex Jones.
Service to the First Amendment. It's a disturbing trend. Government, as the governor said, the government is colluding with big corporations.
You said his name. Might as well bring on David Duke too.
The Bank of America,
Richard Spencer,
voluntarily gave names of and information on anybody who bought a hot dog in Washington, D.C. from January 5th to January 7th, and then overlaid that with gun purchases that they had on record anywhere in the country for any period of time. And just they say they voluntarily gave that to the FBI. So that's disturbing to me. by the way, I've never met Elon Musk, but I'm one of your biggest fans. I'm the first congressman to have a Tesla. I'm on
Thank you.
I'm on Starlink.
This is so
and, I would have
cringe.
bought a Powerwall, but I'm off the
What's all
grid.
this dick sucking,
You
bro?
wouldn't sell me one, so I had to make one with a wrecked Model S.
He's Kentucky's fourth. I
It's
hate
running
this
our house
guy.
for 5 years, but my
And just
Oh,
for the record, I was with Thomas our first
I
year.
don't, I don't remember exactly where the fourth district
He's
is.
got the Tesla, but his license plate is Kentucky Coal. So it's he's probably one of the only people that have that in the country.
Thanks for outing me, Governor DeSantis. But no, so Governor DeSantis, my question to you is, you served here in Congress for 6 years with me. And why is it that Congress is so feckless at reining in these government agencies? And what do you think we need to do? And if you were president, what would you urge Congress, or what bills would you like to see and sign to rein in this, sort of overreach of government bureaucracy?
Well, first, I think there's a lot that the executive branch can do, and all I will say when it comes to these agencies, we'll go into this a little bit more as the campaign goes on. But buckle up when I get in there, because the status quo is not acceptable, and we are going to make sure.
Yeah, they just came here to just suck each other's dick. This is so sad, honestly.
And these agencies are totally out of control. There's no accountability, and we are going to bring that in a very big way. Now, part of the reason it's gotten so bad, power's been consolidated and effectively a fourth branch of government, because Congress hasn't used its two main powers that it has under the Constitution. First, the power of the purse. If an agency is engaging in conduct that is outside the realm of what is legal, or you think it's not good for the public interest, then you can remove the funding for those operations. There's nothing that they're not entitled to get the same level of funding every year, and yet Congress runs the government on autopilot, either continuing resolutions or massive omnibus spending bills. So these agencies are all bulletproof. They know that they're going to end up getting something similar or more every single year, and it creates an incentive for them to abuse their power. The other thing you can do is actually legislate.
Government organizations aren't completely controlled by the whims of whatever radical political group wants them to do whatever they want them to do in that moment. That's crazy.
Is implementing. Instead, Congress.
You're telling me they have more decisions than just like what is going to get them more money every time? That's crazy.
And so Congress may never vote on something, and the bureaucracy will cite a law from 20 years ago and do things that are going to transform our society or our country. That is not the way the founding fathers drew up the Constitution.
So would you sign the REINS Act? We passed it out of judiciary today.
Oh, yeah, no, of course. Yeah, that's a no-brainer. That would, I think, be a great check for that. I also think that we're going to have a good chance to see some of this Chevron deference really curtailed, or maybe even eliminated based on the U.S. Supreme Court's upcoming jurisprudence. And I think that's another reason why the bureaucracy is.
Guys, remember when I told you that DeSantis can't become president because he has no riz? The fact that you're bored right now is proof of this.
To just defer. I don't think that that's actually correct. I think the courts, they have to make a judgment about what does the law actually say, and you can't just defer to quote unquote experts in the bureaucracy.
Thank you.
All right, shifting gears, Governor, I want to ask you another topic that's been in the news a lot is Disney.
Mind you, DeSantis literally
plans for $1 billion
raided the home of somebody who was telling the truth about COVID stats in Florida, because Florida started lying about their COVID stats.
Disney was going to make the cuts anyway, and due to a larger
bring up Disney. Let's go.
Regardless of why they did it, why do you feel your fight with Disney remains important? Considering you already beat them
Disney
on the parental rights bill that they opposed, and what would you say to some of your opponents in this race?
They made a single statement
that the fight has dragged on too long.
So first of all, Florida stands for the protection of children. We believe jamming gender ideology in elementary school is wrong. Disney obviously supported injecting gender ideology in elementary school. They did oppose our parents' rights legislation.
Can you give me a definition of what that means?
They opposed it. That was a big deal.
What's gender ideology?
For 50 years, anytime Disney wanted something in Florida politics, they pretty much got it. But not this time. I signed the bill. We did, as you
I personally
say,
find this very funny because because Disney actually paid for
Disney
DeSantis' campaign.
Some of the other statements that their executives were making, kind of the
it's like what happens if when your dog gets off the leash and then bites somebody.
Trying to inject matters of sex into the programming for the youth. And I think a lot of parents, including me, look at that and say, that's not appropriate. I mean, we want our kids to be able to just be kids. And that's kind of our mantra. So you had this setup that Disney engineered many decades ago.
Yeah, truth and definitions were made by the left to confuse children.
They controlled with no accountability. They were exempt from the laws that all their competitors had to follow. Massive tax breaks, and they even racked up municipal debt. And Florida basically put them on a pedestal many decades ago and joined the state with this one company at the hip. We just didn't feel that we were comfortable maintaining that relationship. And so we ended their self-governing status. So Disney has to live under the same laws as everybody. They got to pay the same taxes as everybody. And obviously they'll be responsible for those debts. So the reason why
they will not
quote fight is just because they filed a lawsuit against the state of Florida trying to get their special privileges reinstituted. But I don't think that that's good policy. And I think some of these Republicans that are taking Disney's side, they're basically showing themselves to be corporatists because these are all corporate goodies.
Oh, yeah, man.
This is not the way you would run a competitive
Who's this guy hosting this again?
The arrangement had really outlived its usefulness, but it persisted because Disney was so politically powerful. I think the company's ethos have changed in a way that's alienated a lot of people in our legislature and in Florida, and so there was really no justification to keep it. But make no mistake, they're suing to try to get special privileges. People are making money in Florida.
Just so you know, if you've forgotten, this is supposed to be a presidential campaign announcement.
They want to be treated differently than
and they've talked about Twitter,
and we don't
YouTube,
think that's
and Disney.
So, I think that they should withdraw the lawsuit. But obviously,
and COVID. Sorry, forgot about that.
Because we think we have the right to do what we did.
You know, it's funny. The media used to criticize Republicans for being in the pocket of big corporations, and now they're attacking you because you're not.
Because
the media in Florida for years had hammered Disney.
As I meet my bestie, a corporate overlord that I met with my donors,
because Disney was not
who are also corporate overlords.
When the state control board took over this district, the firefighters came to the board and they said, "Hey, we weren't getting survivor benefits for some of these widows." And so the state control board actually paid out some of the benefits that they were getting stiffed on. There were a lot of people in Central Florida who were really thankful that there was some accountability being brought to bear because, I mean, it's human nature. If there's no accountability over any individual or entity, of course, they're going to behave differently than if you have normal accountability. But the media was always very hostile to that. But just because I happen to be involved in bringing it back to reality and making sure that they were under the same laws, well, then all of a sudden they're running to Disney's defense. I mean, are you kidding me? And oh, by the way, on this project, they had announced this many years ago. They had not done anything for it, but that is actually not in Reedy Creek. So that was in a different part of Orlando. And so none of the issues that are involved.
I feel so bad for Orlando getting shitted on by DeSantis like this.
As a publicly traded corporation, they have a fiduciary duty to do what's best for their shareholders. So I'm assuming if they were in better financial shape and they saw the project as lucrative, they would have gone forward with it. But I think clearly they've had some problems with their stock price and a lot of other issues. And I'd also just finally point out, nobody probably has made Disney more money than me because they were open during COVID and they were closed in California. And that went on for many, many months where literally I had all the theme parks in Florida opened in 2020. People are going, it's safe, they're having fun. And the California parks were closed. I think they were closed for over a year out in California. So we were, I think, a much better place to be doing business, certainly since I've been governor.
Great. Let me shift gears here to the topic of education. I want to pull Chris Rufo into the conversation.
Why?
Work with you on some initiatives. I think, one other thing that the mainstream media has, I think, bashed on is they've kind of started promoting this narrative that you want to ban books from school libraries. You refuse to teach kids about slavery or other unpleasant realities of American history, or pretend that gay people don't exist. Since many people, I think, in this room, we're now up to, over 271,000 people. So this is, I think, totally unprecedented in terms of the numbers of people we have participating. By the way,
no, it is
Twitter's
not
working much better now. I think it crashed because when you multiply 500,000 people in a room by an account with over 100 million followers, which is Elon's account, I think that creates just a scalability level that was unprecedented. But with my meager followership, it seems to be working much better.
Yeah, no.
Wow, just hide the call. Just pretend the call doesn't exist.
At one point,
if we hide the call from everybody, then nobody's able to join.
If above a certain size, it would crash the servers.
Yeah.
And then anyone else.
Two Holocaust textbooks rejected by Florida.
Well.
Crazy.
So in any event, yeah. Well, we're breaking new ground here.
We're scaling issues.
Yes, you're breaking.
You're not breaking new ground.
There are bugs and scaling issues.
Well, actually, you are.
Back to the question I was asking you.
An embarrassment.
DeSantis, about education. The media has been, saying you're trying to ban books. You refuse to teach kids about slavery. You want to say that gay people don't exist. What is the truth of the matter for people who maybe have never heard from you before? And then I want to pull Chris Rufo in on this as well.
Yeah, so the whole book ban thing is a hoax. There's not been a single book banned in the state of Florida. You can go buy or use whatever book you want. What we have done is empowered parents with the ability to review the curriculum, to know what
me
books
when
are
I
being used
lie,
in school, and then to ensure that those books match state standards and are age and developmentally appropriate. So, for example, parents have flagged books in schools that, for example, teach middle school kids how to use sex apps, that provide graphic depictions of sex acts and sex toys for people as young as 5th grade. And so clearly that is not appropriate to be in a middle school classroom. And so parents object and the schools take them out. I did a press conference that we called Exposing the Book Ban Hoax. And before I had the parents
we're teaching them about Holocaust or slavery, or that gay people exist.
Had the images of the books that the parents had objected being in their kids' classroom. And the local news had to cut the feed because they said it was too graphic. Well, if it's too graphic for the 6 o'clock news, how is it okay for a 6th grader or a 5th grader? And so nothing's being banned. They're basically ensuring that we make
GTA is too graphic for
that are consistent
for 6
with
p.m.
standards.
news. To be honest.
And on the racial history, we eliminated critical race theory from our K through 12 schools. That was the right thing to do. In other words, we're not going to take a kid who comes in at 6 years old and say they
passed a law that said that you can't make white people feel bad.
That's divisive. That's wrong. We're also not going to be teaching people to hate their country. But what we are going to do is teach the accurate history. So in the same bill that banned critical race theory, we required teaching thoroughly about racial discrimination that occurred in American history. And Florida's history standards require all of those subjects from slavery, Reconstruction, segregation, all of that to be taught, and will continue to do that. So I think what you see is the left and the media colluding on this. They don't want to actually defend what it is that we are actually legislating or regulating. So they create these hoaxes that somehow you don't want kids to learn that slavery existed in America, which is preposterous. No one actually defends the offending material. And the question is why are there people intent on trying to get this stuff into the classroom? And I think it's part of a political agenda. So our mantra in Florida is this purpose of the schools is education.
I still don't know who the fuck this David Sachs guy is.
Yes, I think it's very inappropriate to have sexually explicit material in a 5th grade library, 100%. But it's also the case that if you're focusing on that type of instruction, there's an opportunity cost involved. Why shouldn't we be doing more on science or reading or math? And so I think we're getting it right. And I think almost invariably, and Chris Rufo's had to deal with this too, when they're trying to craft these narratives.
How do you know about this guy?
Peel back the onion.
I'm telling you, dude. They just run their literal politics. They run politics of the world like a YouTube account. There's no reason why this guy should know who Chris Rufo is.
I was actually under the impression that there were some books banned. So this is news to me.
You just believed him?
One this week was that
yes.
Miami-Dade County
very smart
took a book that was about like poems from
there were books banned
from I think like Biden's inauguration, and they moved it from elementary school library to middle school library. The media tried to act like somehow this is being banned, and you actually had Miami-Dade County Public Schools spokesperson have to come out and say there's nothing that's been banned or removed. It was basically just determined that this particular book was better suited for middle school. And so they put it in the middle school media center. And the media tries to act like somehow that is offending.
He's trying to use this to justify his much more extreme policies.
But I think part of the reason that they're doing that is because, there is actually a movement to ban books from like Amazon and some of these others.
But it's the left. It's the left.
Banned things like To Kill a Mockingbird. What they're trying to do is see if some of these books pass a woke test. And if they don't, they are going against some of those books. Whereas in Florida, you can buy whatever book you want. But that's a different question than what would be appropriate for a third grader. You don't even know what wokeness is. Appropriate for a sixth grader. Government, by definition, has to make those choices about what type of curriculum we want to put in front of our students. And the parents obviously have an important voice in that.
Absolutely. Well, in fact, a friend of mine, Tim Urban, who has a blog called Wait But Wine, is really one of the most reasonable people on earth and one of the most reasoned people I've ever met. Had a lot of trouble actually publishing his book, simply because it debated sort of sacred cows of woke ideology. Incredibly reasonable book. So,
bro, talk about something important for once in your life, bro. I'm begging you. You're running for president. Talk about something important.
Publishers are unwilling to take risks.
Anything. Nobody cares about your thoughts on
I know we're running out of time
on Twitter. You're already running out of time
for Pacific, but thank you for giving us a little bit of time here, Governor. Shifting gears,
you spent most of the talk on
federal issue, immigration.
On Twitter,
we see I've seen these videos on social media and on TV of what looks like just insanity at the border. What is your take on what's going on there, and how would you address that as president?
I'd reverse what Biden's doing. You need to shut the border down. You should not be entertaining these asylum claims for people crossing illegally. Asylum is a legitimate thing, but these are people that when they come, they're being persecuted. These people,
you have to be on American soil to claim asylum. You can't claim asylum in one country from another country.
They should be applying for asylum there if they were, truly
you literally can't
qualifying for that, but they're not. They know that if they just show up at the southern border, and these are people all over the world that are coming illegally, they know that they will get a sheet of paper saying, okay, come back for a court date in 3 years, and they get released to the interior of our country. It's an absolutely insane system. So we'll stop that. We will move on day one by declaring a national emergency. We will construct a border wall. We will make sure we have remain.
How well did that work for the guy before you?
Those claims in that way. And we really need to hold the Mexican drug cartels accountable because they're facilitating a lot of this migration. They obviously make money off of it. They treat a lot of these people very
decriminalize the drugs. It would ruin their business model.
The United States, and of course, the cartels have been responsible for moving massive amounts of fentanyl into this country, and that's killing tens of thousands of Americans every year now. And what they're doing is they lace the other types of drugs with the fentanyl. So you may have like a teenage kid doing something they probably shouldn't do, but in prior generations would not have been fatal. And now if it's laced with fentanyl, these kids can overdose and die. And so mothers are losing kids as a result of this fentanyl epidemic. And I just don't think you could allow these criminal organizations to continue poisoning our population. So it'll be a day one issue. We will bring overwhelming amount of resources to deal with it. And we are going to stop this insanity once and for all.
A final solution to the border crisis?
Question on immigration from Steve Dace, who is a national radio personality and I think
should we watch more of this or should we dip?
Steve, do you have a
one in chat of dip, two in chat of keep watching?
I think you just need to unmute. If Steve can unmute, then we'll go ahead and ask him for a question. If not, we'll keep rolling here. All right, 3, 2, going.
I'm there,
all right,
guys.
Sorry, Steve.
I'm there, guys.
Oh, there you go. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, you're there? That's crazy because I'm gone. I can't do this anymore. It's just so annoying. He's so boring. All right, well, that may be the first and last time we'll really hear about DeSantis. What's really funny, what I want to see is how bad he's going to get screwed over by the Republican establishment, not allowing him to run, opposing Donald Trump, because Donald Trump's already running. I think Donald Trump already has the nomination. I don't think it's possible that DeSantis beats Donald Trump in a nomination. DeSantis has no riz. DeSantis, I mean, even here, listen, Donald Trump got the presidency the first time by actually talking about some important, not like all, but like some important issues. Like Donald Trump went to like normal news to ask normal news questions. Like DeSantis this is why I think they're going to suffer really bad with the way that they want to run their party now, because I'm sorry, nobody gives a shit about any of this stuff that you're talking about. Nobody cares about you getting your video call banned off of YouTube, okay? Nobody cares. None of them care. Even Donald Trump doesn't care, okay? Even Donald Trump doesn't give a shit about that. Like, talk about anything. Talk about the allegation. Like, talk about something important to a human being who's not like online all day. Like, just something, dude. Anything. He just can't do it. And I don't know what to do, you know? Like, I don't think he knows what to do either. Imagine if Trump ran it as an independent. Or DeSantis. Imagine if Trump or DeSantis ran an independent. I don't think they would. I don't think DeSantis has that dog in him to be able to do something like that. I think he would just give up and then go back to Florida. That's what I think that he would do personally, but I guess I'm wrong. You know what's really interesting is that because of this actually proves to me that DeSantis isn't as smart as I thought that he was. Because my original opinion was that I don't think that he's going to be running for president because it just doesn't make any sense to. Like, Donald Trump is running. He's still wildly popular within the Republican Party, and the Republican establishment is going to be copping for him really hard. And even still today, running with Donald Trump's endorsement is seen as like reasonably okay in some parts of the country. In Florida as well. Florida voted for Donald Trump by an overwhelming margin. They really they're really into Trumpism. They still are. And I don't see that changing anytime soon, if I'm going to be honest with you. It just makes no sense that he would run. Joe Biden is also still running and is very popular. I just don't see him winning in 2024. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to run. It would make sense to run in like 2028, because then like what it would be, fucking Kamala Harris? Who you'd be running against? What, Kamala Harris? That's an easy win for anybody. I think a dog could beat Kamala Harris in any race. Kamala Harris couldn't even win California, and that's the literal state that she's from. And so my question would be like, why wait until now? It just doesn't make any sense. Why go now? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. But I guess he's not as smart as I thought that he was, which is actually really nice, because he's the only real conservative rising star at the moment. What, Tim Scott? What, did anybody give a shit about Tim Scott? Nikki Haley? Does anybody actually think that anybody gives a shit about any of these characters? I don't. I mean, Tim, if you didn't know, and I feel like a lot of you didn't, if you didn't know, Tim Scott actually began running for president. Like, he actually is running for president at this moment in time. He really is. He's doing campaigns and everything. He just started. I actually wasn't paying it. I actually didn't know that for a little bit. I now do, but that's definitely something. I hate to say it, but Romney, I think I could see Romney running again. I think he has the possibility of winning. Yeah, I mean, here's how Tim Scott's. If you wonder why you didn't hear anything about Tim Scott, this is how his campaign is going so far. Take a look at this.
Hello, North Charleston.
Thank you, Tim Scott. Very cool. Yeah, he's really gonna make it. I really see it. He'll really make it. Yep. That's the next president of the United States right there. Hello, North Carolina. Oh yeah, it's all coming together. Oh, it's all coming together. Had no idea he existed. Really? Yeah, he's there. They don't talk about him much, but he is there. As unfortunate as it is, he is still alive. I'm kind of excited to see what's going to happen because I know this is going to cause a massive fissure between the left and the right. A lot of Trump supporters like Elon Musk because he's like Donald Trump, I guess. You know, he's a rich person who they could see like buying their family. But there's going to be a massive rift between these people because, I mean, take a look at this, right? Like Cat Turd and his like group of goons and weirdos and freaks. These are huge Donald Trump guys. These guys are huge Donald Trump heads. And I mean, look, okay, they're literally saying Elon has blue hair and pronouns. I voted for Biden. I voted for Biden. Look at me. Now I have blue hair and pronouns. Just because he supports Ron DeSantis or likes Ron DeSantis more than Donald Trump, or is giving more time to Ron DeSantis over Donald Trump, even though Donald Trump specifically said that he didn't want anything to do with Twitter. I mean, just like, you know, how in the world are you going to, I mean, like, it doesn't even make any sense to get mad at him here, but in their mind it does, because any step out of line means that you're controlled by the woke mind virus, or you're evil or something. DeSantis supporter Elon Musk is going to endorse DeSantis. This is the greatest thing ever. Me. Take a look at DeSantis supporter. Elon Musk is going to endorse DeSantis. This is the greatest thing ever. Me. Take a look at this. And then it's Elon saying that I voted for Biden. He's like, take a look at the people. The people who like DeSantis are like rhinos and fake Republicans who actually are trying to destroy the Republican Party, and how good of a thing we got going on. There's going to be a massive issue between like all of these people, and it's just like, you know, what are we gonna do? You know, for me, I'm going to watch them suffer. I hope it hurts when they die, politically, not literally. Just to be clear here. I hope it hurts when their political career dies, to be more clear. So I'm going to enjoy the ride. I'm gonna make videos and I'm gonna have a great time looking at these people ruin their lives. But these people, you know, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They're going to. This is just what they do. You know. Shouldn't be sure. I think he's doing his best to make sure the candidates have a free and fair coverage. Yeah, bud. Yeah, giving Ron DeSantis a dick sucking tour is definitely a free and fair. 100%, I bet. You think they would ask the same like softball questions? Like, man, we totally agree with you. How would you make the world even better, bro? Wow, you're so cool. You're so good at your job. Well, I'll just believe anything that you say when you say it. That's so wild. I won't even think about it. As soon as you say it, I'll just completely believe it, dude. You're so cool. You're so good at your job. Do you think they do that for anybody else? For me personally, I don't think so. I don't think so. But hey, listen, whatever, I guess. You know, I'm just a guy. I'm just some guy. I'm really just some guy at the end of the day. I'm some guy. So, you know, whatever. I just will see what's going to happen. He just destroyed Ron and Elon. I do think, I'm sorry, this just blows my mind. This is a good ass meme. It is pretty, it does piss me off. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. In one tweet. You know what? I mean, like, it's the craziest thing about it is that it's a perfect response. In one tweet, it blows up both of them. I hate that. It's so good. He's the OG mean girl. He genuinely is the OG mean girl. Like, unironically. And he's mean as fuck. Single decisive strike. Trump, he should have said, this is why I'm not back on Twitter. Oh, that would have been crazy. If he just would have been, if he would have just dropped the, this is why I'm not back on Twitter, Lamau, and it with like no context as well, that would have been, or with the, or with the screenshot of the, this is not working, or the something's wrong with Twitter, it's not, sorry, something went wrong, it's not your fault. That like error message that comes up random. Have you guys been getting that too? That I've never seen that error message until until Elon took over the company. But that error message that's like, something went wrong, it's not your fault. I had never seen that before in my entire life until Elon took over. It's so weird. Holy crap, he can't help himself. Wait, after being on Twitter, DeSantis went on Fox News and he went to go get a question by Trey Gowdy, and this is how he answered the question. Yeah, he ain't winning shit. It's over.
You wore the uniform, if you are elected president, you may be the first one in a while to have worn the uniform. How would you address the ongoing war in Eastern Europe between Russia and Ukraine on day one of a Ron DeSantis presidency?
Well, first, I think what we need to do as a veteran is recognize that our military has become politicized. You talk about gender ideology.
Yeah, it's over. Yeah, it's over. It's over. It's over before it started. You can't answer that. You can't answer. Bad answer. Bad answer. That isn't related to the question. Wasn't supposed to be. Gender ideology. Well, I think first we need to talk about how our military is filled with gender ideology. They made suits for pregnant women. We all know women aren't capable of anything besides being barefoot in the kitchen and pregnant. And they can barely do that right. That's why we had to ban abortion. I'll have you know I've been spending a lot of time watching Russian and Chinese military ads. And they're way cooler and more sick than ours. They actually look like Call of Duty commercials if you've ever seen them. And I think that's really cool. I think our military needs to be more like Call of Duty and less like Lollipop Chainsaw. Nobody even played that game. Nobody even played that game. Holy crap. Actually, you're right. Brandon did beat his ass too. This link works. No, it's over. It's so over. Bro, it's never been more over than this. Yo, it's over, bro. Come on. My name is Ron DeSantis. It's Jover. It is Jover. Only been using a mere 5% of my power. Biden. Bust. I'm sorry. I do find it mad funny that they had to cut DeSantis. They had to not do it on Elon's. They had to not do it on Elon's thing because too many people joined and his shitty website can't handle people listening to audio. Holy crap, Biden's going in. Brandon's going in on Pant Piss. What in the world? He's freaking obliterating Pant Piss. Look at this. How do you feel about
that we were very proud to do? So I would.
What? How do you feel about your extreme abortion ban?
That was something that we were very proud to do.
Bodied.
So I would embrace.
Would you cut Social Security?
Like Paul Ryan offered.
I'm not a candidate.
Holy shit! What the fuck, dude? Dude, who did Brandon hire on his media team? This is crazy. Can you launch a presidential campaign?
And offered.
I'm not a candidate.
That's crazy. Oh, that's crazy, dude. How'd they get this? It's been like an hour. It's been like a day. How'd they get all these clips and put them together like this? This is wild. He has like one Zoomer holding up the entire camp. Yeah, it's crazy. He has like one Zoomer intern holding up the entire campaign for people younger than 65. I think that's crazy. I think that's crazy. And you know what? He's holding it. He is our Atlas. He holds up the world. He's got the whole world in his hands. He got the whole world in his hands. Wait, what is this? Full video of DeSantis with Hitler and the devil. What is this? Hitler. Wait, what the Elon Musk, Ron DeSantis, George Soros, Klaus Schwab? Is that it? Is that Dick Cheney, Adolf Hitler, the devil, and the FBI? You know what? True. True. The boys are back in town. The boys are back in town. Oh man, we got the guys back together again. I miss you all. Yeah, the gang's all here. What is this like? Is this like the worst version of Smash? Yo, can somebody make this Smash? Can somebody make this like Smash? Wait, can I? Yeah, here we go. Oh no, it's too loud. Yeah, here we go. Choose your fighter. Elon Musk, Ron DeSantis, George Soros, Klaus Schwab, Dick Cheney, Adolf Hitler, the devil, FBI. A hellish blunt rotation. I main Dick Cheney. You main that dick? Really? That's crazy. A lot of people find it a bit unorthodox, but I'm really a George Soros main, I will say. I'll have to tell you. I tell you what. Listen, I'm a George Soros main with an FBI with an FBI pocket pick for for Soros's bad matchups. Yeah, you got to keep him around. Play the vid? Fuck you. How about that? You know what? I'm not playing the vid anymore. You motherfucking why I oughta? I'll play it.
George, can you just wait while we...
Hello? Can you hear me?
We can all hear you, George. Can you just hold on for a second?
Hilfa, I don't think they can hear me.
I can hear you fine, George. Just speak to the
I don't think George knows how to use Twitter.
Hello? Can you hear me now?
Can I please make my big announcement now? Everyone just...
Hello?
Just shut up, George.
Can somebody just mute George?
Dick, could you try not to cough on the...
Okay, so how are we going to take out Trump, you guys?
Guys from the FBI, this is not a private call. This is a public Twitter space. Everyone can listen in.
God damn it.
Oh, fuck.
Anyway, guys, we invited everyone to this Twitter space so Governor Ron DeSantis could...
Everyone just shut the hell up so I can make my announcement, okay?
You go, girl.
Wait, the devil
You go,
is
bitch.
gay?
So what? Everyone in this call is gay. I happen to know every single one.
Oh no, you triggered Hitler. You guys, you can't say the G word around him. You know it sets him off. He also knows German?
Guys, can we...
Oh no, wait. Oh no, it's George. Wait, is that George Soros having a German screaming match with Adolf Hitler? Wait, you can't. Wait, his family died in the Holocaust. You can't do that.
I happen to know every single one of you has a secret gay lover hidden in your closet.
Guys, can we please just
Did he say the
calm
A-word?
down?
He said, oh no, Dick is not, he's not having a good time.
So anyway, guys, I just wanted to announce that I'm...
Okay, I can hear the governor very well.
Shut up, Would you please shut up already? I'm running for fucking president, okay?
Yeah, we kind of already knew about it.
Know, Governor.
Congratulations, Governor.
Well, that concludes our Twitter space for today. Thank you to all of our...
Hold your horses, Elon. The real president is going to say a few words. The devil, I'm going to kick your ass very soon. Hitler, you're already dead. Dick Cheney sounds like you'll be joining Hitler very soon. Klaus Schwab and George Soros, I'm putting both your asses in jail. And Ron DeSanctimonious can kiss my big, beautiful 2024 presidential ass. Trump 2024, baby. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go. Oh man, now it's coming. God, instead, you know how crazy it would have been if Donald Trump, like in the middle of the call, like loaded up Twitter and then joined. And then he was like, "Hey yo, pant piss, fuck you, you ain't winning." And then they would have had like because you know Elon would have definitely allowed him to, would have definitely made him speaker. Oh, it looks like we have Donald Trump here. He said he wants to say a few words. That would, can you imagine the screaming match between those two? Now that, listen, if Elon did that, if Elon pulled like if Elon pulled a Sam Cedar and then pulled out goddamn Rufo and pulled in Donald Trump, like full hell in the cell during DeSantis's Twitter announcement, it would have gone crazy. It would have gone crazy. Yeah, it turned into a debate space. It would have been the greatest Twitter comeback. Honestly, it would have been the greatest Twitter comeback, period. If Donald Trump would have called in and would have been like, "Hey yo, bitch, I heard you trying to take my seat." I'm sorry. I cannot get over. I love how the devil in there was like, all of you have a secret gay lover. That was, he snuck that in when George Soros and Adolf Hitler were having a little bit of a back and forth. Me and Bestie, literal Satan.
Just
calm down.
Oh, listen, I'm so sorry, but like Donald Trump is actually beating his ass. like Ron, this is actually one of the worst presidential starts I've ever seen. It's actually worse than Tim Ryan and Nikki Haley's because nobody even cared about theirs. It kind of died in silence. But this one died in this one attempted to be really big. And still, like, DeSantis was barely trending, and now he's only trending because the Twitter space was such a huge failure. That cough is really good. Look at the thing I sent you in DMs. You sent me your dick again?
Elon Musk. Ron DeSantis.
Oh, wait, here we go. I got you. I see what you're doing.
This meme is very real.
Elon Musk. Ron DeSantis. George Soros. Klaus Schwab. Dick Cheney. Adolf Hitler. The Devil. Donald Trump.
It's so good. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Now that is what I call pog. That's pretty good. That is pretty good. It was a year in the making? Wait a second. They were planning this for a year. Wait. Wait. So you're telling me that all those other big Twitter space calls that Elon was making was actually a test run for when he was going to be announcing with Ron DeSantis for his presidential campaign. And every single time the Twitter space crashed or like failed or like got ruined or was a complete mess. And every single time he said he was going to fix it until the day actually came and it broke again, like every other time. That's crazy. That's crazy. He learned nothing. He learned nothing. Come here. Come here. Oh. Hi. Oh, sorry. I didn't see you there. If you're enjoying the content, hit the subscribe button. If you don't, it'll make Boo very sad. I know a bunch of you who are watching are not subscribed. Join the frenzy. You won't regret it. Thank you, Boo.